It's a Thursday, September 30th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. The Pan American Health Organization is in the process of ramping up the procurement of COVID-19 vaccines. Word of this from Director Dr. Kirisia Etienne, who on Wednesday revealed that the organization had entered into an agreement with Sinovac. Speaking during the PAHO's weekly press conference, Dr. Etienne said, looking ahead, all possible strategies must be used to access more COVID-19 vaccine doses.
Our revolving fund is in advanced discussions with vaccine manufacturers to purchase additional COVID vaccines on behalf of our member states to complement bilateral deals, donations, and doses that they are receiving via the COVAX mechanism. We are really happy to share that we have reached an agreement with Sinovac and have begun accepting orders that will be ready for delivery this year. And we are expected to sign new agreements in the coming days to buy vaccines that have the emergency use listing approval from other suppliers for 2021 and 2022.
She, however, said that administering vaccines required more than just doses.
Today, we need more syringes as vaccination campaigns ramp up. PAHO has already secured over 150 million syringes for our member states, and the revolving fund is working to finalize shipments for the rest of 2021 and to consolidate country demand requirements for syringes and safety boxes for 2022. As we address these immediate gaps, PAHO is also working to expand our region's manufacturing capacity to build a more sustainable and dependable supply of vaccines and medical technologies. Latin America and the Caribbean have imported nearly all the medical products that they've used in the COVID response. And today, we're paying the price as we continue to face delays in production. But our region has the capacity and expertise to lessen our dependence on global suppliers.
Barbados and other CARICOM countries could soon be trading with each other in their own local currency instead of US dollars. Prime Minister Mia Mottley and President of the African Export-Import Bank, Professor Dr. Benedict Orama, placed that plan on the agenda as they seek to establish closer trade and investment links between CARICOM and the African Union. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Mottley signed a memorandum of understanding with the bank as she kick-started the deepening of trade and investment cooperation between the two blocs.
We heard you explain to us very clearly your success in being able to facilitate trade within Africa in local currency rather than seeking to find valuable hard currency to facilitate trade. And we certainly want to work with you and to learn how best, because we have maintained for some time that even though the CARICOM multilateral clearing facility failed 30 years ago, that there is no reason for it to fail today if we plan it out properly and can work out what the commitments and the opportunities are. Our biggest trading partner in Barbados is in fact with Trinidad. And Trinidad, my friends, why should we be paying for goods in Trinidad in hard currency of US dollars and vice versa? So we need to be able to see how best we can work together and leverage that. You spoke.
The bank's president said the MOU was the beginning of the process of turning ideas into action.
It is an honor to be here and to have signed this evening this memorandum of understanding that sets out the vision we had discussed in the past 2 days on how to promote the trade and investment flows between Africa and the Caribbean. I think that today we began the process of concretizing the aspirations our leadership have for the relationship between these two regions.
The Sanitation Service Authority's Residential Waste Collection Improvement Project kicked off on Wednesday, paving the way for thousands of households to receive rollout carts and recycling bins. The project, which is a collaboration between the SSA and the privately owned ProSource Limited, will distribute 65-gallon rollout carts and 18-gallon bins for recycling in a bid to ease the workload on sanitation workers. The first set of carts and bins were distributed to residents of Broomfield, St. Lucie.
What we are doing here with the Waste Improvement Project, I want to say to Barbadians, for too long, the Sanitation Service Authority and the workers complained about the occupational hazards associated with their job. For too long, they complained that in the twilight of your years, while others retired in Barbados and would have the comfort of going to the bed and lying down in peace and tranquility and enjoyment, the sanitation workers always complained about rheumatoid arthritis and all the other physiological illnesses associated with the job of lifting those big, heavy, sometimes over 25 pounds or so, garbage cans and putting them on the back of the truck. For too long, the Sanitation Service Authority and the workers complained about the fact that they get a lot of damages to their hands, they get cuts, they get wounds. There's a myriad of complaints associated with this job. Those days are over because we came to government saying, first of all, that we care about the workers, and it is our job to care about their interests.
That was the Minister of Environment and National Beautification, Adrian Ford. The project is also geared at slashing by half the amount of garbage being hauled to the national landfill.
The fact that every single day about 700 to 1,000 pounds of tons of garbage enters the landfill, with a project that seeks to separate at source, that encourage Barbadians to use the recyclable containers at first for plastic, and then we will go through the entire list: bottles, we'll do paper, cardboard, aluminum, tins. It will be a phased roll-out process. But what we are saying is that if we have this recyclable being done in an efficient way, we can reduce the amount of garbage that go to the landfill by about 50%. That is about 300 to 400 or so tons daily. It is a significant reduction based on what we are faced with at the landfill. When we are allowed to export these recyclables, what it does is that it allows essential and much needed foreign investment.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, a teenage boy is among the latest COVID-19 related deaths recorded in Guyana. More in this report from News Source Guyana.
A 17-year-old boy from Region 3 is among 5 additional coronavirus-related deaths recorded by the Ministry of Health. 2 other young persons, a 28-year-old man from Region 4 and a 33-year-old man from Region 3, are also among the latest fatalities. The Ministry of Health did not indicate whether the latest COVID victims had underlying conditions, but it was made clear they were all unvaccinated. Health officials continue to warn about the increased spread of the virus and its deadly attack on younger persons, especially those who are unvaccinated. According to the Ministry of Health, more than 95% of the persons who have died from the virus were unvaccinated. The number of new cases is also causing a headache for health workers tonight. Over 6,000 new COVID-19 cases were recorded so far this month, making September the month with the widest spread and the biggest increase in new cases since the first case was recorded in Guyana in March of 2020. September has also become the deadliest month for the pandemic, with 158 deaths recorded so far since the start of the month. The death toll in the country now stands at 783. There are over 4,000 active cases of the virus, with every region recording new cases almost daily.
And finally, video sharing platform YouTube to crack down on COVID-19 vaccine videos in an effort to fight misinformation. More from Reuters TV.
Under pressure to combat misinformation on its platform, YouTube announced on Wednesday it will block all anti-vaccine content on the streaming site. YouTube already cracked down specifically on COVID-19 vaccine misinformation, but will now target content alleging that long-standing, commonly used vaccines cause chronic health effects. The Washington Post reported that YouTube, owned by Google parent Alphabet, will take down several channels and ban prominent anti-vaccine activists, including attorney Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Joseph Mercola, who have long been high-profile figures in the anti-vaccine movement. The move comes as YouTube and other tech giants, such as Facebook and Twitter, face criticism for not doing enough to stop the spread of false health information on their sites.
And they're killing people.
U.S. President Joe Biden in July said COVID-19 misinformation spread on social media was, quote, killing people. Even as YouTube takes a tougher stance on misinformation, it faces backlash around the world. Moscow on Wednesday expressed outrage after YouTube deleted a Russian state broadcaster's German-language channels for what the site said were breaches of its COVID-19 misinformation policy. Russia called the move, quote, unprecedented information aggression and threatened to block YouTube. Google did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.